physical stress, financial stress, and the totality of it is the spiritual stress. And gradually, his health status begins to deteriorate.
And later, neurologist encourages members of the public to engage in activities that stimulate the brain in order to improve mental health, as Ghana joins the rest of the world to commemorate World Brain Day.
Make sure your brain is stimulated. Some people like crossword puzzles, and some people like things like Sudoku. It helps, keep the brain active.
We have details of these and many more coming up shortly. To stay.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Cool 103.5 FM in Ho, Rage and Might FM in Tamale, Somali FM in Wa, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM.
Today, the Minister for Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Lamte, is expected to present the mid-year budget statement on Tuesday, July 23, 2024, in Parliament. The presentation will be the first for the minister after his elevation to replace Ken Ofori-Atta. The minister's presentation is expected to provide relief to ordinary citizens, as many Ghanaians are expecting the government to implement remedial measures to address the current economic challenges, including high inflation and the high cost of basic items on the local markets. Now, ahead of the presentation, players in the manufacturing and service industry have been sharing the expectations of the provisions made by the government for their industry. One key area is the country's tax regime, which players have described as taxing. According to the Executive Director of the Food and Beverage Association of Ghana, Samuel Agri, excessive taxes is threatening to collapse the industry. He spoke earlier on Morning Star.
We expect them to remove certain nuisance taxes that we have been calling for, and then also look at rather militating against growth in this country. So if you look at the port levies and the taxes that are being implemented, most of them will say they are nuisance taxes, and therefore we need to correct this to be able to break even, because most of the taxes that are being implemented are paid on threefold, some in double, some in threefolds. So we say we can't pay tax, so therefore we need to streamline all these areas. Therefore, if there's anything to go by, this is the time for us to look at these policies. And then if it comes to industry, we have to bring down the cost of taxation, because industry is being charged overly in taxation, and therefore we need to bring it down for them to also have a growth in that sector, because the industry is what is driving this country. And if we say we need to grow this country, then we need to make sure that the industry survives. If you overtax them and some of them relocating, then it becomes a big problem. If you look at the cost of CD as against dollar, it's a problem. So therefore, we expect that they will announce certain measures that will make sure that the CD will be stabilized for a very long time. If it comes to cost of production, very high because of electricity. Look at the cost and bringing it down for the industrial sector so that this can grow. If we do that, businesses can then have confidence that people can put their money in and that.
This concern was also backed by President of the Hoteliers Association, Dr. Edward Akanyamike. He is hoping the COVID-19 levy will be scrapped.
It's about our taxes. And here I'm referring to the hotel industry, including the tourism industry. Last year, before the budget was read, we had an engagement with the Ghana Tourism Authority and other stakeholders, and then proposed a consolidation of the several taxes that we pay in the industry. Unfortunately, the report came out very late in the day, so we were informed that it was not considered for that particular budget, which is this year's budget. However, they gave assurance that they will continue the engagement with the ministry so that in the mid-year review, it will find space in it. Here we are with the mid-year review tomorrow. It's our expectation that we'll hear an announcement that our taxes have been consolidated to a level that is affordable to the industry. So that's one part. The other part it's about a 1% COVID-19 levy. If we don't hear anything about the consolidation, we want to hear that 1% COVID-19 levy has been taken off, or it's been scrapped or taken off the books. It's very, very important to us. We also want that assurance that there are no new taxes at all, and also that the government will stick to the budget so that we don't have extra spending. And all this we know is under the context of the IMF engagements, okay? But we should be very careful not to pursue an agenda which will be to the detriment of the private sector, which lays a lot of the eggs for the economy.
The Ghana Union of Traders Association is also urging the finance minister to announce measures to stabilize the Ghana cedi. The association is concerned about the impact of the local currency's decline on their operations and the overall economy. Dr. Joseph Obeng is president of GUTA.
You know that we have been talking about cost of doing business being very high in this country because of the numerous taxes that we have to contend with, especially with clearance of goods at the port. And so these are basically what the business community have to contend with. And if you look at the current depreciation of the local currency, it is also not helping the growth of businesses. And then you can't predict, you can't forecast and all that. For now, there's a seeming stability for some time. And what we expect from the finance minister to bring out measures that can sustain stability of the local currency. That's the surest way to help grow the growth of businesses in this country. And so we are not also expecting another layer of taxes as have been promised by the minister himself. And so a business thrives on a stable environment, and especially with regards to the local currency. When that happens, you are able to predict prices become stable in the market, turnover will increase, and all that will be able to service our debts, both local and abroad. And so it is very crucial to stabilize the local currency so that people, businesses will not collapse as a result. And that's why the stability that we are experiencing now, we should do everything possible to stabilize it, or if possible, make sure that the city gains some value again, so that businesses can have the ability to grow.
Let's also hear Professor Patrick Esumeng, who is economist at the University of Ghana Business School.
If you look at how the budget implementation has gone in the first half of the year, you get a sense, and there's been some hints from the finance minister that we shouldn't be expecting new taxes. And then also, it's unlikely that there will be an additional request for additional money to be spent. And I think all of those are positive things. Obviously, I don't think Ghanaians would have been in any mood at all to tolerate any new taxes, given the multiplicity of taxes we've seen over the last couple of years. And in terms of the macroeconomy, the broader macroeconomy, we should definitely going to get an update how the consolidation effort that were announced have played out in the first 6 months. You get a sense that there's a chance that there might be an update, especially to the growth target, given how the first quarter growth number went, and also the fact that the other major international organizations have all upgraded their projections, expecting the economy to grow a little faster. I'll be surprised to see if there's any update on the inflation number, the inflation target. And but generally, I think it would be great to hear any measures that the government have in terms of building the economy going forward. We spent the last 2 years speaking a lot about consolidation and then stabilization. Obviously, the stability that we are all expecting have not happened yet. There's been some measure of stability, but we're still a long way off where we should go. But I think Ghanaians want to see beyond that where the economy is headed, and where the long-term growth is going to come from. I think it is in that area that we haven't really heard enough. We've heard so much about consolidation measures. We've heard so much about some progress that have been made. But I think we Ghanaians want to hear a bit more vision going forward, how the economy is going to pan out, so that we don't return to the problems that we've had in the last couple of years.
Let's still stay on the budget, and the World Bank is cautioning the government against falling for the temptation of undertaking unbudgeted expenditure this year, stating that such actions could derail the country's economic recovery. Ghana has undergone a painful debt restructuring in an effort to ensure that debt levels reach sustainable levels. While the World Bank acknowledges that the country is on the road to recovery, it has highlighted the election year phenomenon where the government expenditure often exceeds revenue as alarming. This concern was raised by economists at the World Bank, Kwabena Jan Kwache, during the release of the 8th World Bank Economic Report on Ghana.
If you look at this slide, it's showing the fiscal deficit from 2000 to 2023. And the yellow bars that we see are the election years. So when we say there's risk as far as fiscal is concerned in the election year, this picture actually shows. And we can conclude that usually whenever there's election, there is slippage, and then the government has to revise all these policies to get it better. But then whenever the next one comes in, there's a relapse and so on and so forth. It's only 2004 when we had epic that the fiscal deficit was actually lower than the previous year. So the question that we ask now is, what's going to happen in 2024? So this is something that I'm sure the government has at the back of its mind. And then also, we also can also think about it in the sense that how or what makes 2024 different.
Meanwhile, Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Alex Ampabing has assured that the government will not overspend this election year, hinting at a likely downward revision of the expenditure budget for the year. He added that despite ongoing tax revenue enhancements, the media budget to be presented tomorrow will not include new taxes.
I'm happy to also say that the mid-year budget is not bringing any new taxes. And I'm sure this, at the current environment we are in, it's about supporting businesses. And I'm sure Nana is very happy hearing that there will be no new taxes in the media. And I also listened to my colleague from the World Bank on election year experience. Again, I'm happy to tell you that for the first time in our history, there will be no supplementary budget tomorrow. Government is committed to stay within the course. And in fact, our expenditure, without preempting anything, is likely to be revised downwards. We are committed in the ministry. We have a responsibility. We have a country to protect. We have a fiscal path to chart, one that is sustainable, one that will make Ghana the gateway as we claim to be. And not only the gateway, but also becomes a destination. So you can be the gateway, but then somebody will end up being the destination. You want to be the gateway, you want to be the destination.
Now, some data subscribers in Accra are lamenting about the high cost of internet data in the country. The subject of high cost of data resurfaced on social media over the weekend after an ex-user posted about MTN being declared a significant market power, which he claimed accounts for MTN's high cost of data. But the regulator, NCA, has defended its management of the telecommunications sector. Here are excerpts of a statement from the regulator.
As the regulatory authority for the communications sector, The NCA is entrusted with the responsibility of upholding fair competition and safeguarding consumer interests within the telecommunications industry. Therefore, the classification of MTN as an SMP aligns with the NCA's mission and fulfills its mandate. It is important to note that the SMP classification is not intended to punish or stifle MTN's operations, but rather to ensure a level playing field in the market and protect consumer choice. By implementing measures such as asymmetric interconnection rate, tariff parity, and technology neutrality, the NCA aims to promote competition, encourage innovation, and protect consumers' interests. These measures enable other operators to compete effectively, offer sustainable pricing, and invest in improving service quality. Furthermore, data from a report published by cable.co.uk and reviewed by the authority as part of a regular bail-in monitoring exercise ranked Ghana third in Africa as a country with the cheapest cost pricing for mobile internet data and second in the West African region. The NCA wishes to assure consumers that it will continue to work closely with all relevant stakeholders to ensure reliable internet access.
Some subscribers have been speaking to Star News about the cost of data and its impact on their lives.
The prices of data are very high, and me as a student, it's affecting me most because doing research, doing project work, use data, and when you buy data 5 significantly, it will not even last to less than 5 minutes, then everything is gone. So I think MTN, that is everywhere you go, they are everywhere. So I think they should come down for us so that we students, we can be able to use the data very well because the prices are very exorbitant and we are suffering as a student.
Within 1 week or 2 weeks, I spend about 20 Ghana or 40 Ghana cedis for a bundle. And even self, I just bought 1 gig right now. Got finished, and it's very, very terrible. In fact, they have to do something like that. Because even if I want to drop my phone and start using it, I can't go ahead and resume.
Especially we do things to this online stuff, online business, because most of them you need data for daily activity. Sometimes you buy data within a short time. You check your balance, MTN will give you a notification that you are left with, let's say 50% for the data to get finished. So it's very affecting us in a bad way. I would say a bad way.
Let's have a conversation on this. Joining me on the phone is the mind behind the advocacy pushing for low cost of data, Samuel Yeboah, the host for YouTube channel Taking Tree. But before then, before we have that conversation, my colleague, Mrs. Aqua, joins me with what's trending. Mrs. Aqua.
Hi there, good afternoon, Serwaa. Well, people have been talking about this because it seems to be something that affects everybody. So we move over to X. We have here exorbitant data prices like 50 Ghana cedis for 2.98 gig in 2024 hinder digital era progress. High cost limit internet access, stifle innovation and economic growth. Affordable data is essential for digital literacy, business opportunities and global competitiveness. Still on X, if I have 100 Ghana cedis, just know that 70 is for data. Then we have here, the thing is affecting me in such a way that I wish I can relocate to Europe or US. We have Victor here still on X. How can I buy 2.2 gig of data for 12 Ghana cedis and within an hour, it's all gone? At this point, it's just ruthless pricing. And then Saprec responds saying, you are even getting 2.2 gig for 12 Ghana cedis. What of those getting 2.8 gig for 50 Ghana cedis? When we move over to Instagram, if not for data, what is Range Rover? Then Arabas says she would have owned houses, not just a house, houses. Emmanuel on Facebook says, been using free VPN for 2 years now. Citizen says, the network companies are burdened with heavy taxes. The network companies had to be passing the tax burdens to the already suffering Ghanaians. If we don't learn from the youth of Kenya, a time will come, this good for nothing, these leaders, let me say that, will run this country down. Kofi Courage says, 3 Ghana cedis, sir. A few moments later, 300 Ghana cedis gone. Oh, I'm a Ghana. We also have on Facebook, Wise, imagine saving what I used on data for a year Never Again NPP. We also have a lot. A week, I spend like 200 Ghana cedis on data. And our last comment on Facebook, we no go talk. We all go suffer for this country top. The most painful part is the poor internet speed in the country. Well, Serwaa, that's what people have to say. There is a lot more they have to say, but this is all we've got time for. Back over to you.
Thank you very much. We're trying to have a conversation with a young man who started the campaign. Unfortunately, we are unable to reach him, but do stay tuned. We definitely will bring you that conversation in a subsequent broadcast. Away from that, outgoing Member of Parliament for the Talensi constituency, Benson Tongo Baba, has attributed the hesitancy on the part of some aging lawmakers to exit to fear of poverty and failing health. According to the Member of Parliament who leaves Parliament after more than 3 terms, some former lawmakers lose their vehicles to banks as a result of their inability to service their loans. In an interview with parliamentary correspondent Ibrahim Al-Hassan, Benson Tongo Baba revealed that many MPs are unable to foot their medical bills after leaving the House. He added many MPs who were better remunerated have regretted entering what he describes as a poverty-stricken chamber.
The MP goes through emotional stress, physical stress, financial stress, and the totality of it is the spiritual stress. And gradually, his health status begins to deteriorate. And if that happens, stress is a silent killer. You leave Parliament, you go home, you don't have any source of livelihood. You have not been able to invest because everything that you are doing, whatever you earn, goes back to the people. So I want to plead with the public that they should understand that the MP, especially because we do not get free vehicles, we maintain them. These situations, at the end of it, if you go to primaries and you lose, you have gone to borrow money because they know that you are earning regular salary as member of parliament. The banks are prepared to deal with you. So you've taken the load, you've gone to contest primaries, and you have lost. If you win, then you are encouraged. You go for more loan, and then you go, and if you are not lucky, you don't come back to the house. So whatever they call as ex gratia, the bank will take all. If you are not able to pay, the bank has so many ways of getting you to settle it. Any property that you have, they garnish it, and then they will take it from you.
Right. It's now time to bring you the latest in the world of sports, and Jones joins me. Jones, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm well.
What's the latest on this latest scandal on our hands?
Yeah, so the president has been speaking, and he has come out to deny that all the members, president of the National Paralympic Committee,
right, okay.
Samson Dean, he also says that, they don't know these people, and they are not part of their team as well. So president of the National Paralympic Committee, Samson Dean, who also doubles as the president of the African Paralympic Committee, has debunked reports that members of the Paralympic team have absconded after traveling to Norway for a sports event. Dean stated that the absconded team is a fake team that was sent by individuals who forged documents to deceive the embassy. The denial follows a communication from the Ministry of National Security to the Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration, and Ministry of Youth and Sports concerning the disappearance of 10 Ghanaian para-athletes and the death of their coach.
Have not applied for a visa. Never have anybody. Never has the MPC Ghana. Never have I signed any letter for and on behalf of the Ghana Paralympic team. And never have we or any of our assigns or officers of the Ghana Paralympic team or the MPC Ghana have applied for a visa at the Norwegian embassy. What you have seen in the media, it's a forged letter by some group of people who are into disability sports development, and Nestle Foundation. And Nestle is a person with disability, an amputated person, who engaged himself in forgery of documents with a former Ghana Amputee Football Association Secretary General, we've named Theodore Maule Viwoto, who have since, on the 18th of July, been suspended indefinitely by the MPC Ghana.
All right, so Black Princess forward Mefia Nyame has called on Ghanaians to throw their weight behind the Black Princess team and urge them to victory as the team steps up preparations in Cape Coast ahead of the Under-20 Women's World Cup. The 19-year-old disclosed that she's ready to make a mark in Colombia. The Under-20 Women's World Cup is in Colombia and will begin on the 31st of August, and Ghana is in Group E with Austria, Japan, and then New Zealand.
Excited to be back to the national team to represent the nation, and it's an honor to represent, and I'm not going to take this opportunity for granted. We're going to make a mark in the World Cup 2024, this year edition in the World Cup. We are praying we qualify from the group stage and make the nation proud. Though I was part in the Costa Rica, I didn't have enough playing time, so hopefully if I make it to the team, I'm going to do my best for the nation. We are urging all Ghanaians to keep supporting us and pray for us, and we're going to make a mark in the World Cup.
All right, so that'll be all for sports. Of course, the Olympics is upon us in 4 days, and Ghana would be parading on the boat. So this time around, it won't be in a stadium. For the first time, there would be on the river in a boat and then waving the flag of Ghana.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jones, for bringing us the sports news. Moving on, the Director of Diaspora Affairs at the Office of the President, Serwaa Amihere, has disclosed the country has no intention to return looted Asante artifacts loaned back to Ghana. In April this year, 32 items, including a ceremonial cup decorated with gold ornaments, were received by the Asante during the reopening of the museum. The items are supposed to be a loan from the British 150 years after they were plundered. However, Serwaa Amihere believes the artifacts ought to remain in the country for as long as possible. According to him, the British are only attempting to circumvent their own disgrace. He made these remarks in an interview during a high-level consultation forum on mobilization, on global reparations, and racial healing movement here in Accra.
Recently, you know how they returned some artifacts that they had taken or they had looted. I think the right word is how they looted them, because we never gave them away willingly. How they took those things away and kept them for years, and how they have benefited by having them in their possession, with building up on their tourism, etc., to the negligence of our own tourism that we could have built if we had all those artifacts here. In the context of in line with the agitation to get the things back to Ghana.
And that's Director of Diaspora Affairs at the Office of the President, Serwaa Amihere. Now, hearing impaired learners from Kufuor School for the Deaf are urging policymakers to address the high unemployment rate among persons living with disabilities. Unemployment rates amongst persons living with disabilities are significantly high, with women facing greater risks due to the intersection of gender and disability. This exacerbates their plight, leaving them dependent on other members of society and unable to take control of their lives. Eastern Regional Correspondent Kojo Ansah has the rest of the story.
The United Nations estimates that about 80 to 90% of working-age PWDs in developing countries are unemployed. In Ghana, persons with disabilities constitute 8% of the population, translating to 2,098,138 individuals according to the 2021 population and housing census. But majority are without jobs. At a stakeholder engagement with a Member of Parliament for New Job in South, facilitated by AFES Ghana in collaboration with COFCRO project partners, hearing impaired students at Kufuor School for the Deaf placed an urgent call to decision makers to focus on inclusive policy interventions to address unemployment among PWDs.
We are applying for a job or something. Because of the disability challenge that we have, they always deny us for our job, especially when we write a letter today. They will tell us, okay, next week you will hear from us. Upon tracing, they will tell us that because of the language barrier, we don't get the job. So,
And before we go, neurologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Kwame Mensah, has encouraged members of the public to engage in activities that stimulate their brains in order to improve their mental health. According to him, such activities will enhance cognitive function and overall mental well-being. He believes some brain issues can be prevented by individuals living a healthy lifestyle. Dr. Mensah gave the advice on GH Today as Ghana joins the rest of the world in commemorating World Brain Day.
We want to raise awareness about these conditions and also want to talk about prevention. In fact, the theme for this year's World Brain Day is about prevention. So, like I mentioned, 90% of strokes are actually preventable. And the main thing you have to do is live a good, healthy lifestyle. And then also if you have things like high blood pressure, make sure it's treated. And any conditions that can contribute to you having any of these brain health, get it screened.
And that's a neurologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Kwame Mensah. And that's how we end this edition of Starr Midday News. I am Serwaa Amihere. For more news, visit starfm.com.gh. Have a good afternoon.